If you're running Google Ads right now, you're probably thinking, how do I lower my costs? How do I get better customers? Look, you don't need more guesswork, more hacks, or more complexity. You need an absolutely proven framework. Today, I'm going to give you that framework. I'm breaking down three pillars of Google Ads success that separate the profitable campaigns from the ones that absolutely bleed and hemorrhage money. This strategy is responsible for driving incredible ROAS for my clients. I have worked for top brands. I've worked on the agency side. I've worked for myself, and it's going to work for you too. Let's get into it. I'm your host, Sarah Stemen. Welcome to the Google Ads Strategy Hub podcast. There are three main things that you need to understand if you want to become truly great at running Google Ads for yourself. And if you can master these three things, your campaigns will perform incredibly well, and your customers are going to be running to your business. And you're going to end up seeing a massive increase in your return on ad spend and your performance metrics as well. How do I know this works? Because the foundation of these strategies is built on the principles of marketing. Marketing that has driven success for top performing brands in every single niche. Whether you're a beginner, you work at an agency, or you're an experienced marketer, applying these concepts consistently is going to fundamentally change your campaign results. Let's get into the first point, which is actually understanding the Google Ads algorithm. I hear people constantly talking about the algorithm. If you've spent any time online with the Google Ads community, they're constantly talking about the algorithm. And so first and very foremost, I want you to stop chasing hacks and understanding the system's goal, so Google's goal. People often talk about the Google Ads algorithm like it's this mysterious black box puppet master, but you have to trick or hack somehow. In fact, I even worked for an agency and I had to do this like training, hazing type of thing where I had to train on Google Ads, even though I've been doing Google Ads for forever. And the owner just constantly talked about beating Google Ads and how they were going to beat Google Ads. And it drove me absolutely nuts. And so you will hear gurus saying like, you have to beat the system, master this latest beta feature, or I'm the genius in AI Max. And nobody's the genius in AI Max right now. It's brand new. And I want to cut past that because the truth is most people who talk about it don't truly understand the core function if they're saying things like this. In reality, the Google Ads system is designed with one specific overarching goal, and that is to provide the most relevant, high-quality experience for the user. And that is it. Well, I would say they want to make money doing that, but they only care about showing the right ad to the right person at the right time. Now, I listened to an episode of the PPC Town Hall a couple weeks ago that my friend Jill pointed out to me, and there was this big back and forth about how Google kind of wants to show the right ad. In fact, that the reality is they want to show the right enough ad so the person clicks a couple times and they make more money. And I could go on and on about this for forever. But the real point is, at the end of the day, Google does want to keep people coming back and searching, and they're doing everything to do that and make more money and balance those two things. So once you start seeing everything with the system this way, everything changes for you as the advertiser. So every time a user has a good experience, clicking on the ad that leads to the relevant page and finding exactly what they search for and converting, Google ends up making money and the user trusts the platform more. And those are the facts. You can go back and forth and you can argue about Google wanting to be on the edge of spammy and not deliver the user to the right possible advertiser. We can debate that on and on. But the truth is that Google wants to make money. And if you as the user get to the right place, you're happier and Google can be happier. So if you as the advertiser think about what you can control, you can deliver the best, most relevant experience for the person searching. And the system is going to give you everything you want as a result, right? A lower cost per click, a CPC. You're going to get higher impression share. You're going to see better quality scores and ultimately a higher ROAS because you're really helping the system and helping yourself achieve the goal of a high quality user experience. They're typing in a term, they're getting you. That is great. So how do you use the system to your advantage? Well, we want to keep the user happy and therefore, get more conversions ourselves. So we want to do both things. The answer lies in quick and simple ways for you to structure your campaigns. So one of the big things is creating this hyper relevancy in your ad groups. The most common mistakes, and I said this in my keyword, how many keywords are too many, is cramming 50 keywords into one ad group. Just stop doing that. You do not need to make a keyword for every single thing on your website. So stop doing that right now. So you want to create ads aligned with the user's search meaning and intent. Your ads need to match the query and what the user typed. It's really psychological. So for example, if I type in running shoe, I don't know why I keep using running shoe as an example, but I've been working out lately, so maybe that's why. If I type in running shoe, don't put me on men's trail shoes. Don't put me on women's dresses or discount sneakers. Don't have that be the end result. And this is a nice thing about Google. While I don't want to wax poetic about the broad match, if I type in running shoes right here from where I'm sitting, I will probably get women's running shoes results because a big advertiser is going to be bidding on broad match and Google knows that I'm a woman. I'm going to tell you that, as creepy as it is, Google knows that I'm a woman. I've given Google enough of my information that they know exactly who's sitting behind the computer. In fact, part of me wants to go and prove it right now, but you can pause this video and do that if you want to. So instead, create a specific ad group for men's trail running shoes, another for women's marathon training shoes, and so on and so forth. So you want to get very, very hyper specific here. My advice is to actually just follow the structure of your website since the website team has already done their job. But if you have very niche categories, just run DSAs on them. I have an entire video talking about broad match and DSAs because when you start to get really hyper local, like I'm recommending, that search volume is likely to be lower. But what you can do is just point to that page, run a DSA on it. Google can crawl that page and create those terms that are likely less searched. This allows you to use the system and write ad copy and create landing pages that are really 100% relevant to the user's exact search terms. So if you're leaning into the DSA side, they're going to help you do that. But the system really does reward this level of specificity. And I never can say that in my videos with a higher quality score, which translates directly into lower costs and better ad positions for you. And fact of the matter is, this is really what you want. You want to be positioned as the best advertiser in the auction. And I'm not talking number one spot. I'm talking right place, right time for that conversion. So the best part of this, you're creating a fantastic user experience. It's actually easier than you think. And think about a successful brand that you actually love. So why do people buy from them repeatedly? It's not just the product, right? It's clearly not just a product because people are coming back over and over again and they can usually get that thing anywhere. But what it really is a positive, predictable experience. So like if I think about one of my favorite brands, Lululemon. Love Lulu. Lulu, if you're listening, I'd love to do some paid search consulting for you. But the fact of the matter is when I shop there, I know what to expect. I know exactly where the label will be. I know the quality. I know the checkout process. I know the speed of delivery. It's literally at my door like 2 days later. And there's a feeling I get every time I use and I buy the product. It's predictable, it's positive, and it's the biggest cheat code to Google Ads success because it ties into the second part of what I'm going to explain here, which is that quality score equation in that landing page. Your landing page is your front door first impression. So if a user clicks the ad, we've already talked about ads. We already have, for example, men's trail running shoes, and you land on a page with only women's shoes, they're going to bounce. They're going to get in the front door and say, this is not what I looked for. And honestly, this happens to me all the time over on the Instagram ads section. I don't know if it's because the bars are lower over there and people just want to advertise over there. But like today, for example, I saw an adorable shirt for my daughter with skeleton. She's in the Halloween mode and it was skeletons wearing tutus and ballet poses. I clicked on the ad and I couldn't find it. I had to go deep and I would figure it would be in holiday or frankly, the exact thing that I would click on and I would see, but I couldn't find it. I eventually did. And you know what I did? I just went to Etsy and bought it there instead because I felt like, man, maybe this advertiser is sus. If they can't even put me on that landing page, it just gave me the ick. So if the customer is looking for specific energy, right? Like I was looking for the skeleton ballet t-shirt for my daughter or the trail running vibe, then give them that. Don't give them something random. If the user's unhappy and Google notes this bad experience, you're going to get punished with your quality score. And again, I could go back and forth. Is it punitive? Is it a discount? Is it kind of a little, depending on how you look at it, but you're just going to get penalized there. And if, to the contrary, the user lands on a clean, dedicated page showing exactly what they searched for with very clear calls to action and relevant images, that's positive. That's predictable. That's great. The user stays, converts, and Google rewards you. And here's the thing, you're going to end up rewarding Google too, because the more money you make, the more you're actually going to spend. Also, create irresistible hooks. And I know I'm talking about ad copy here in marketing, and hooks is normally something that you see on the social media side. But, everything in marketing sort of translates and goes back and forth. And so you're going to need to create something that's really going to get people's attention. And it's really a way to engage your business with some of the conversations that are going on in the outside world. And let's be real, people's attention spans are absolutely brutal. Users are going to see your ad copy, your headlines, your display, your creative, and decide within a few milliseconds if you are even worth the click. Users today, they're ruthless. I'm ruthless, right? So with that in mind, the hooks, right? And again, not a term I usually use in PPC, but I want to stress the importance here. The hooks of your ads really need to capture that attention immediately and make that impact. I could make an entire video about writing killer ad copy, but I want to give you one simple, very powerful lesson so you can remember this. Start with emotion, not information. Don't open your ad copy headlines with facts, over explaining your company's history, or just listing your product features. Nothing like that. So for example, here's one. Established in 1999, in business for over 20 years. I mean, I see this all the time. I've written so much ad copy like this. I should say a disclaimer, test it, because those are very authoritative statements, but make sure if you are doing the testing to sprinkle in these emotional connections too. So you want to trigger some sort of emotional connection first. You want to tap in right there. So it needs to have that, like, I want to see what this is about right there from the beginning when you think about your ads. So like, here would be a bad example. Our company sells award-winning home security since 1995. That is super boring. Like, who cares? Award-winning home security. Like, who wins an award in home security and it's bored already? But what about this one? Sleep soundly tonight. Finally, a home security system you can trust. I kind of like that because you know what? When my alarm system's on at night, I go to sleep much better. In fact, even reading this example to you, I visualize, I think I saw an ad for like Brinks or something where they had like the baby sleeping at night, and really taps into that emotion of safety and relief that you feel when your alarm system is on and you're tucked in bed at night. So focus on the user's pain point and their desire first. You're creating this irresistible hook that drives that click. And you really want to also stop blending in and present your unique offer. So this is really the third and final way that the system and the user are going to end up favoring your ads. You're going to try to stop blending it. So hyper-relevant ad groups, irresistible hooks, they're going to get you really, really, really far, right? So you've gotten the attention, you have the emotion. But if your landing page looks and sounds like everybody else's, the user won't remember you. So again, you have hyper relevancy, you've got this hook, they land on a landing page, the user needs something. And the Google Ads system could give you that great quality score, but it can't make people actually convert. That's the part you have to figure out. That part is on you. And this amazing mindset shift that I think might help you here is don't just aim to make a great ad, make an ad that could only be for your business. This is how you just stop blending in. So you really want to highlight your USP, the thing that makes you demonstrably better, faster, or different than your companies. Are you the only one offering free next day shipping? Lead with that. Do you have a 100-day risk-free guarantee? Make that the core of your hook. Are you someone like me who gets on YouTube with no makeup and makes videos that are really deep thoughts that others call a hidden gem, right? That's what's different about me. I'm not doing a lot of post-processing. I'm just sitting here talking to camera. Lean into what makes you, especially you, since people, especially now with AI, are craving more of the human. I think that is really important. And then by differentiating your offer, you're ultimately going to get that user to stop, click, and convert, which tells the algorithm that your ad provides the most value. And that's how you get your campaigns to essentially dominate. Last thing here is conversion mining. And So before we move on, if you're serious about mastering this, I highly, highly recommend subscribing to my channel or booking a coaching call with me, conversion mining. So right now, if you're like most beginner advertisers, you're probably just launching campaigns, setting budgets, kind of just hoping for the best, crossing your fingers, which is fine. That is absolutely fine if you're just starting out, if you're just getting comfortable with the platform in your initial setup. But true success comes from data. I talk about this a lot in my videos. Conversion mining is really the process of relentlessly analyzing the data in the platform gives you to extract insights and reinvest them back into your business as profit. So what you're doing is you're letting the data tell you where to spend more money and more importantly, where to stop wasting money. If you want to start growing consistently as an advertiser, you need to start doing some research in your niche first. So I'm going to give you an extremely obvious example. I noticed in my niche that there were many ads that were basically using the same tired conversion strategy. The ads had all the same generic benefits. I mean, it's a marketing agency. And the truly successful competitors were using very specific call to actions. So my friend actually had a call to action that made me stop in my tracks. And her call to action was, call us when you've been punted to a junior strategist. And I died laughing. Call us when you've been punted to a junior strategist. Because let's just admit, if you've ever hired a marketing agency, this happens constantly. I clicked on the ad because I wanted to know who was running that ad campaign because it just hit the nail on the head. I immediately sent her a DM and I will never forget that ad. While I'm not the target market for it, we can get into that. It was an ad, it got my attention, and I'm sure it got other people's attention, and it was absolutely lovely. So I always try to think that this approach, when I am consulting to other people, I don't just want to try it with my clients. I want to consistently adopt things like this. And I did this with one of my clients, and their conversion rate literally improved by over 100%. It transformed my entire clients' campaign profitability. I had them go out and just say something extremely dramatic right there in the ad copy that they knew their competitors were essentially not doing. So if you're a plumber, you can go out and say, I actually answer my phone, because if anyone's tried to get a plumber or a service person out to your house, they don't always answer. It's hard to get them to come out. Be bold, say it, just right there. Anyway, what this taught me is Google isn't just about guessing, right? Like, it's not just about guessing. It's about doing as much as you can with what you have and leaning into that human emotional side. But it's also not about being perfect either. And I've talked about this in my last campaign. It's about not just about running ads consistently, hoping for the best. It's about finding those high performing patterns and outliers in your data and then building on those outliers with your own uniqueness, your own offer. So how do we find the outliers in Google Ads? Because it is a platform full of data. Well, the easiest way is incredibly simple, and you don't need a paid tool to do it. You just need the data in the Google Ads platform. Start with your search terms report. You want to go into the campaigns, pull search terms, and this report shows you the actual queries that user typed in that triggered your ad. So the queries that match to your keywords. Look for terms with high clicks but zero conversions. These are negative keyword opportunities. People have clicked on them a lot, but they're coming and they're just not doing anything afterwards. What I would do is block these terms so you're not wasting money. You also want to look to the contrary. Look for terms with amazing performance, the equivalent of a 10x multiplier. If one specific query has a phenomenal conversion rate, a low PPC, that is your outlier. That is something to lean into. And if you can't really get this data in any one keyword, start looking for patterns. If you notice that multiple high-performing terms all contain a certain word or certain vibe, so to speak, maybe affordable, premium, then you know that this is something that is repeatable and it's an intent that you want to lean into, because we do talk about intent a lot. And make sure that your ad copy gets into that type of thing, get into the vibe of the keyword. And so what you're going to do when you do see these outliers is you're going to create a new ad group dedicated to only these outlier terms and write an ad specifically for them. And this is the last part of the entire framework. And this is one I hate to say, but it's super important. And that is allow yourself to fail. And this is the testing mindset. So the last and most uncomfortable cheat code to Google Ads success is allow yourself to fail. You want to fail often. You want to fail a lot, and you want to fail big within a small, cold budget environment. And there's a saying in sales, every no is a yes. If somebody tells you no, it's a yes to something else. And it is something that I still feel like advertisers have to learn. The only way to find those X multiplier outliers is through rigorous, continuous A/B testing. It is through looking on Reddit and see how your customers are talking and complaining. That punchline that I talked about earlier, punted to a junior strategist, call us, question mark. I mean, that hit the nose on the head. But how would she have known that if she didn't know that that is frustrating clients universally being dumped off on someone junior? And I think she even had in there, because now that I'm talking about it, everyone here has 10 plus years of experience. I mean, it was just great. She woke up and chose violence. Test your headlines, test your landing page, test the vibe, join them together, test your offers. And if you're not failing regularly, meaning if you're not launching new ads where some of the ads just flop or don't get the time of day, then you're not testing aggressively enough to find out what is your next major win. Embrace the failure, because it's simply the cost of tuition for the huge win that's right around the corner. Master the 3 pillars, understanding the quality score, conversion mining, and testing and failing forward. And then your Google Ads success is going to be absolutely inevitable. Okay, so let's quickly wrap up everything covered today, because I covered a lot and had a lot of sidebars. Feed them that candy. If you like this video, please subscribe, please comment down in the comment field. Follow me on LinkedIn. I am in absolutely all the places, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have a coaching call, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video podcast episode.